Let's meet our next rising star, Metier Brewing in Woodinville, Washington. Joining me now is co-founder Rodney Hines. Rodney, thanks for being here, and congratulations on being one of Brewbound's rising stars this year.
Thank you, Justin. This is just exciting news, and it's early out here in Seattle. So to wake up and hear you say that just makes the day. Thank you.
So, Rodney, could you tell us a little bit about the name Metier and what it means?
So when Todd and I were forming the organization, we were spending a lot of time thinking through what brings us together and why we're doing this. And we landed on the name Metier, and he's actually got a bike shop in town with this name, and I've always loved the meaning of it. So his bike shop is his own thing, and it's a cool community space. But when I started to dig in on the name Metier, I'm like, all right, that's truly what we're about and who we're about. So Metier, the literal translation from French is job vocation. The more poetic translation is one's calling, one's destiny. And again, when we think about how intentional we are about what we're creating and how purposeful we want our mission and our values to be, Metier really spoke to us in a similar way that this is kind of a puzzle for anyone watching this, but our logo, it'd be interesting for people to sort of pull this apart and understand what that is. They can text us what they think it is, but all of this, our name, our logo, our brand, really is grounded in purpose and intent for us.
Metier is partnered with the Seattle Mariners on a brew pub called Steelheads Alley, which honors the Seattle Negro Leagues baseball team from the past. And I think that's very cool. How did this baseball season go for Metier there?
Oh, it went well. I mean, I think for Seattle, I think we did far better than we anticipated as a team. And just the energy across Seattle, across the region for the Mariners and the love for the Mariners, you just felt it everywhere. So I think it gave us all a good boost of energy.
That's awesome. And the Steelheads is the former Pyramid Alehouse. And so I'm curious, how does it feel to take over such a historic space and reinvent it really in such a meaningful way?
It's interesting for us. For us, it all starts with our mission and what do we do? What can we do in partnership with others to really drive our mission forward? And it's standing right here above us. So to brew damn good beer and build stronger community, to inspire bigger dreams for all. When the Mariners approached us and said, throughout this concept of honoring the Negro Baseball League and the Steelheads from the 1940s, we really considered this partnership and the Mariners relationship through our mission. And because the Mariners the team is committed to this region and addressing equity and justice issues and making softball and baseball accessible to everyone, because of that ethos and that alignment, it just made sense that we would join them in partnership. So what we're excited about is that we are the resident brewer at Steelheads Alley, and our job there is to brew damn good beer and to help tell the story of the Negro Baseball League and others who were left out of the MLB back in the 40s and 50s.
My history is I was in Kansas City for about 11 years, and the Negro League Baseball museum is there. Right. And Buck O'Neil is just such a legend in Kansas City and the Kansas City Monarchs. So it's good to see, those legacies carry on in other cities.
Yeah. And it's great to hear you just mention that you're even aware of the Negro Baseball League. I mean, I think very few people have an awareness of the teams and where they played across the U.S. So it's fun to make people aware and do a little bit of education with, in combination with some great beer. And so many of the beers we're going to be brewing there are going to be named after and just sort of acknowledging the players from the 40s.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. That's so very cool. Steelheads is just one of those 3 tap rooms. As I mentioned, you operate a flagship location in Seattle Central District, as well as your original space in Woodinville. How has the on-premise business really come back for you guys this year?
It's we, like other breweries. I mean, we did a lot. Well, I guess hospitality, restaurants, all the businesses impacted with COVID. It took a lot just to make it through and to stay alive for these last few years. And I can't say enough about the community that embraced us and helped us stay and remain. So it feels, and I suspect many of us would say it was an exhausting couple of years with the pandemic. Feels like we're coming out of it, but there's still residual effects of the pandemic. But I think we are where we are because of the great team we have, but then it's also our community of customers and the others who've been with us. So I think of other breweries who we talk to a lot, other restaurant owners, even the hop farmers and others who were in partnership for our beer. It's been a full community effort to keep us all afloat.
Yeah, and speaking of building community and really building out this brewing industry, you helped create the Mosaic State Brewers Collective with Reuben's Brews, and that helps bring women and people of color into the beer industry and to really grow within it. How is that going so far? What have you learned through that program?
It's fascinating. When we first opened our business back in 2018, I wouldn't say I was shocked, but I was dismayed when we saw the numbers. I mean, at the time we opened, we were one of less than 50 Black-owned breweries in the country. And then I had a manager running our tap room, and she and I would talk about if she opened up a brewery, she'd be one of less than 20 women-owned breweries in the country. And from the beginning, we are like, okay, we've got to be a part of the change in this industry. So it was exciting a year ago to work with Grace and the team at Reuben's to launch the Mosaic State Brewers Collective. Drew on our team, who leads production, I mean, he has got a spirit and a soul around this work, and so in partnership, we've worked with we've worked with the University of Washington. So we partnered with the University of Washington, and they're providing in-class strategy development, marketing skills for the folks who make it up to the second and third levels of this program. So there are 3 levels of the program. Our participants, from the beginning, they're set up with mentors. And so it's helping them figure out what's the place they have in this industry and what does it look like for them and how do they learn from others. And then from that level 1, it advances up to including all the fundamentals of brewing, but then all the fundamentals of creating and managing a business. That also includes the classroom time at UW Foster School of Business and learning how to create a business plan, how to do a marketing spiel. I mean, all of those critical elements that, for many of us, we have not had the exposure to really understand what it is to have a successful business. And we think this program is one way. I mean, I think there's several other programs across the U.S. that are emerging, but in this region, this is one way to help folks figure out their path in this industry.
That's very cool. I'm a big fan of Grace Robbins and everything she's done at Reuben's, and this work is just so needed in this industry.
Yeah, I'm a fan of. I mean, we're fortunate. I mean, sitting here in the Northwest, and I look at all these great breweries like Cowburst and Georgetown and Machine House and Lowercase. Many of those are actually those brewers are part of our program, and they're mentoring this next generation of brewers and folks in the industry. So it's Grace is an example of the others who are in this community who recognize the work we all need to do around the industry. So when you look back at 2022, what are some of the highlights for you and Metier? So when I think about this year or these last few years, I want to acknowledge that none of us, I think at least for us, we're not going at this alone. And it's been vitally important to me to think about our team and all the folks of our team, including my co-founder partner, Todd, and just how we're all sort of present with each other and just keeping each other all sane. So it's a much gratitude that I feel for Todd and other members of our team and our broader community that's supporting us.
Well, you've got a ton on your plate, and we're almost in 2023. What do you see as the opportunities ahead for Metier?
What I'm drinking right now is one of those opportunities for us. So this is a sparkling hop water made with fresh juniper that we launched in this last year. I think we launched it ahead of our plan because I don't know if you were like many of us, but in the middle of COVID, we found ourselves on many happy hour video Zoom calls and nightly maybe drinking a little bit too much beer and wine. And at some point during the middle of COVID, I'm like, okay, we need this water now. And so we started brewing it, and it's what got me through COVID. But we've seen a fan base growing of people enjoying this sparkling hop water. So this is one of those products that we're extremely excited about. I think what's ahead is we're doubling our production because of the distribution. We're working with Stoop on our distribution. And I think what I get most excited about is my team. We've got this phenomenal person, Aaron, who does distribution for us. We've got a phenomenal, thoughtful guy, Drew, who is the head of production, and he was one of the first Black winemakers in the state. So he's got this palate that is refined that helps guide Michael, Gavin, and Destiny in making our beer. I've got great leaders in Roland and Mercedes who manage our tap rooms, and then the teams with them that make this place, our space, a warm and welcoming place where our customers want to come back to again and again and again. I think I get excited to witness and be a part of who we are becoming and what we represent and what that means for this industry. But I also get excited that, you know, down the street when we opened, another Black brewery opened in Washington State, in the Central District here, 23rd Avenue Brewery. So I'm excited to see how they grow and how we all sort of grow and come out of this strange moment that we've all been in. So it's the excitement for me in this coming year is our team. What are we going to do together? What are we going to do with our community as we really consider what's our role and place in our community, and how do we support others who are growing, be it nonprofits, the organizations we support in terms of kids getting into cycling and others who've been hit hard in these last few years. I just get excited about, like, let's get out of this pandemic and let's flourish and grow and become more human together.
Yeah, that's a lot to be excited about. Rodney, thank you for doing this. Congratulations to you and your team. And, we're stoked to have you as a Brewbound Rising Star.
Thank you. Thanks, Justin. I appreciate this.